Navaditamastu mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadasivasamarambam Shankaracharya Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudirayet. Hari Om. So we were doing sloka number 1 yesterday. Good morning, biology, Dr. Brahma. Do you want me to repeat anything from verse 1?
Hari Om, Dr. Mara.
Okay.
No,
Should
we had done yesterday, no? I think we can go ahead as...
number 2, right? Verse number
Yes, dear. Yeah.
2. Okay. Also,
Dhanyavad.
okay. I'll start with that. And then if anybody wants to, as they join, we can go further maybe.
Yeah. Can you just do the last bit of Shloka 1?
Sure. The first sloka, right?
The first one, yes.
Okay. Actually, it's very short. So, which is better? Since moksha means the knowledge of akarma in karma, meaning one should see the akarta, non-doer, in the karta, the doer. Arjuna wants to pursue that knowledge. It being very clear that this was what was to be done, renunciation of action seems to be the right thing to do, especially since the knowledge I am a karta is the renunciation of all activities. Why? Arjuna thinks, should I perform actions and then try to discover the akarma then in them? It seems so much more logical to him to renounce action. In sannyasa, role playing being minimal, minimum action is involved, whereas in karma yoga, roles are many and so are the actions. So again, in sannyasa, role playing being minimum action is involved, whereas in karma yoga, roles are many and so are the actions. To be a son or daughter, husband or wife, father or mother, citizen, neighbor, or a friend implies activities and duties that have to be performed. Karma yoga means that the activities and duties involved in the varieties of roles one plays are to be done properly and at the right time. Properly and at the right time. This is what is meant by the proper attitude, the attitude of yoga. If, however, one takes to sannyasa, there is only one role, that of the disciple, and later perhaps that of the guru. There is no other role for the sannyasi, meaning there are no other duties. The person is released from all familial and social duties, thereby reducing the number of roles. Role reduction is what is accomplished by the lifestyle of sannyasa. The roles have been reduced to one. This role reducing lifestyle, sannyasa, seems to Arjuna to be the most appropriate one for gaining moksha. And Krishna was definitely praising it by praising the renunciation of all action by knowledge. Whatever Krishna praises, Arjuna thinks he should follow. But Krishna was praising both the renunciation and performance of action. Krishna had said there was nothing like knowledge for gaining moksha. And Krishna was definitely praising it by praising the renunciation of all action by knowledge. And having praised knowledge in this way, told Arjuna to take to yoga. Arjuna feels that Krishna was contradicting himself by praising the renunciation of activity while asking him to perform activity. The advice does not seem appropriate, but Arjuna knows that Krishna knows better. Therefore, he expresses his doubt: is the renunciation of all action better or the performance of action? Which of these two, sannyasa or karma yoga, is better? By better, Arjuna means the one that would give him moksha, shreyas. Knowing that the renunciation and performance of action could not yield the same result, he wants to know which one would lead him to moksha. His doubt then is centered on which one he should follow. Both are good, but if one is better than the other, meaning one is the means to moksha and the other is not, then Arjuna wants to follow the better of the two. The renunciation of action and the performance of action cannot both be pursued at the same time. They are opposed to each other. One cannot simultaneously renounce activities and do them also. And since they are contradictory, he cannot even follow each of them partially, a little bit of sannyasa and a little bit of karma yoga. Just as fasting and eating cannot be followed by the same person at the same time, so too sannyasa and karma yoga, being opposites, cannot be followed by the same person at the same time. Therefore, Arjuna again asked Krishna to clarify as to which one of the two is better. So, in the first verse, the question is about which one is better, the sannyasa versus karma yoga. So shall I move forward? So once again, Krishna responds. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasah Karma Yogascha Nishayasa Akara. What is this? Nishayasakaravu Akaravubhav. Sorry. Tayostu karma sanyasat karma yogo visishyate. Sri Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, Uvacha said, Sannyasaka, renunciation of action, Karma yoga cha, and the performance of action as yoga, Karma yoga cha, and the performance of action as yoga, Ubhav, 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 yeah, Ubhav, Nishtrayeshakaravu. Both lead to liberation. Ubhav Nishraya Shakaravu. Both lead to liberation. Tayoho tu, but of these two, karma sannyasat, as compared to renunciation of action, karma yoga, performance of action as yoga, visishyate is better. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasah Karma Yogacha Yogacha Ubhava Nirshayeshakaru Tayoho tu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yoga Visishyate. Sri Bhagavan said, both renunciation of action and performance of action as yoga lead to liberation. So both renunciation of action and performance of action as yoga lead to liberation. But of these two, the performance of action as yoga is better than renunciation of action. But of these two, the performance of action as yoga is better than renunciation of action. So that's what the Bhagavan is saying here. Both renunciation, I'll read this again. Sri Bhagavan said, both renunciation of action and performance of action as yoga lead to liberation. But of these two, the performance of action as yoga is better than renunciation of action. We have seen that although the word Shreyas means better, it also means moksha. Nishrayeshas, Shreyas, Shreyas, Nishrayasa, Nishrayasa mean the same. Nishrayasa it means the same. But what leads to moksha? Krishna responds to Arjuna's question by saying that both sannyasa and karma yoga lead to moksha. So again, Krishna responds to Arjuna's question by saying that both sannyasa and karma yoga lead to moksha. For Arjuna, it is an either or situation. Either sannyasa can do it or karma yoga, but not both. For Krishna, however, there is no either or. Sannyasa and karma yoga both lead to moksha. The problem here does not have a simple or either or solution. But to appreciate this fact requires that both sannyasa and karma yoga be properly understood. In each lifestyle, there are advantages and disadvantages depending on the qualifications of the person. One lifestyle may be advantageous to one person, while the other may be advantageous to another. Both lifestyles have an equal status because both are means, sadhanas. Therefore, between these two lifestyles, sannyasa and karma yoga, there is a choice. But Krishna is not praising sannyasa as a lifestyle. He merely states that there was such a lifestyle. Nor does he ever say that sannyasa as a lifestyle is preferable to karma yoga. He praises sannyasa only as an end to be gained. At the beginning of the third chapter, Krishna said there were two lifestyles, jnana yoga and karma yoga. Jnana yoga is characterized by the pursuit of knowledge alone. Jnana yoga is characterized by the pursuit of knowledge alone, and karma yoga combines the pursuit of knowledge with karma. In the verse presently under study, Krishna again refers to these two lifestyles as being equal. Since both of them are means, what else could he do? Even though Arjuna wants to know only one of them, Krishna has to teach both. Therefore, once again, Krishna seems to be confusing him. It is wonderful if you understand Krishna's statement. Both renunciation and karma yoga lead to moksha, but it can be exasperating if you do not understand it. If both sannyasa and karma yoga lead you to moksha, you may also prefer sannyasa, as Arjuna did. It is like being told that to reach a certain place, there are two routes that in one route requires you to walk half a mile and the other route requires you to walk 5 miles. For which one are you likely to choose? You will no doubt choose the easier of the two because we always go for the easiest way to do anything. Similarly, if both sannyasa and karma yoga lead you to moksha, you will choose the easier. But which is the easier? At first glance, it looks as though sannyasa doing nothing or doing very little is easier. But in fact, sannyasa is definitely the more difficult of the two if you are not ready for it. Krishna makes it very clear in this verse that performing action is better than giving it up. Renunciation of all actions means that you should be able to be with yourself. So, the renunciation of all actions means that you should be able to be with yourself. You should be happy with yourself, for which you require preparation. This is why Krishna says here that Karma Yoga is better than renunciation. This does not mean, however, that no one should take sannyasa. It simply means that sannyasa is difficult and therefore one should be ready for it. As Krishna makes clear later on, Karma Yoga actually paves the way to sannyasa. So, Karma Yoga actually paves the way to sannyasa. So, I think this quote about the Karma Yoga about the, we know about the sloka in third chapter and second sloka. Here, Krishna is simply saying that Karma Yoga is better than a mere life of sannyasa without necessary preparation. Vimal, I'm in a class. Vimal, talk to daddy. Here, Krishna is simply saying that Karma Yoga is better than a mere life of sannyasa without the necessary preparation. He explains why this is so in the next verse. Excuse me, I just want to close the door 1 second. Sorry, I have some guests at home, so they're all making noise. Okay, so here's the end of the second verse. So simply Bhagavan Krishna's answering question to Arjuna's question about which is better. But he's simply saying both lead to moksha. Karma yoga as well as sannyasa lead to moksha. They are kind of two different lifestyles. But which one is better? He's simply saying karma yoga is better than a mere life of sannyasa without necessary preparation. But to become sannyasa, to pursue knowledge, that takes the preparation. And it's difficult and it takes preparation, necessary preparation to be sannyasi, to pursue the knowledge. So that's pretty much what I like to say here. Like, do you guys want me to repeat any of that in this second sloka?
Just the last paragraph, Dr. Mara.
Sure. The last paragraph.
I think what we can do before we go to the next shloka, we'll just do Manana on what we finished and then we'll go on to the next.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So here, you want me to read the last paragraph, right? 1 second. Okay. Let me read from here. Renunciation of all actions mean that you should be able to be with yourself. You should be happy with yourself, for which you require preparation. This is why Krishna says that the Karma Yoga is better than renunciation. This does not mean, however, that no one should take sannyasa. It simply means the sannyasa is difficult and therefore one should be ready for it. As Krishna makes clear later on, Karma Yoga actually paves the way to sannyasa. Here, Krishna is simply saying that Karma Yoga is better than a mere life of sannyasa without the necessary preparation. He explains why this is so in the next verse. So, first of all, I think here we have to. This question even came from Arjuna because he once didn't have better understanding of which one is better, like sannyasa is better to lead to moksha, pursue moksha, or pursue the knowledge versus the karma yoga. Like he said, which the example is given, like if we can reach one place by two different routes, but one is like you have to just walk half a mile, the other one you have to walk 5 miles to reach the same place. Which one you choose? Like that, he thought, which one is better. But then Bhagavan Krishna is saying both leads to moksha. But he didn't really trying to say which one is better because he wants us to better understand before we can say which is better, karma yoga versus the sannyasa. So understand karma yoga, the karma that we perform, like we all have different roles, like husband, wife, children, and teachers, different professions and whatnot. So everybody have the duties to perform. So that has to be done with the properly. The duties have to be done properly at the right time. So that is what is called the proper attitude of karma yoga. So we have to really do your duty, not just doing your duty, but doing it properly and at the right time. So that is the karma yoga. You remember we read about what yoga means? Like it's about the study, right? It's the study of uh, karma, like that kind of.
The term yoga has different meanings with respect to different, based on the context. Like, for
Exactly.
example, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the name title of the chapter, is
Hmm.
only, it's not it is it's describing the chapter, what is the content of that chapter.
Right. Hmm.
Whereas yoga, mostly in Bhagavad Gita, is considered as karma yoga.
Hmm.
When the end we say, Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu
Hmm.
Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre, that yoga there is karma yoga.
Hmm.
So it depends on the context in which it is used.
Okay.
And in the chapter 4, with respect to yoga, he mentioned, when he says yoga samsiddha, it is
Hmm.
both jnana yoga and that includes karma yoga. So it depends on the context.
Okay. So when it's yoga means, I always felt thinking that like a union, right? Like you,
Hmm.
so the karma yoga here means that we really doing it with that proper attitude, which is like doing it the right time and the right place. Properly doing the
Right attitude. Yeah.
attitude. So that is karma yoga. And the sannyasa is that you renounce actions, all duties, and it's like they are doing very minimal things as a disciple or as a guru. So there isn't much to happen. But then to get to be sannyasi, you have to have a lot more preparation because you have to be all by yourself and I mean happy with yourself and be yourself. Otherwise, it's it's not going to work as a sannyasi to pursue knowledge. So that is why here Bhagavad says that karma yoga is probably preferable than the sannyasi jnana yoga for Arjuna as well as probably general population, right? That kind of that sense. But in the previous the verse they described out what is jnana karma sannyasa, which is the person who that vivid sannyasi and we what is that vivid sannyasi vivid vidisha sannyasi. They're trying to describe two different sannyasa itself. There are two different kinds. One is vidvat sannyasi, where a person who has the knowledge and he performs action with that attitude of non-doership. And whereas the what is Vichitta sannyasi or Vividisha sannyasi. Vividisha sannyasi is a person who is a sannyasi uh, to to pursue knowledge. Actually, he is not with knowledge, but he is to pursue knowledge. He is just a sannyasi who renounce all his actions as per the Shastra, enjoined by the Shastra. So that's a difference that one to understand about what is Karma Yoga, what is so for us to have a better understanding of as well, so we can follow how we can incorporate this into our life. So please go ahead and share your thoughts.
Since Krishna was praising knowledge so much in the whole of fourth chapter, naturally Arjuna had this doubt. And then in the end, the last verse, Krishna tells him, okay, yogam atishta, uttishta bharata. He says, now take up and start doing your karma yoga. He is completely confused again. He had the same confusion he had, which he had at the end of the second chapter. That is why we had the third. The third chapter is all about karma yoga. So here, Krishna very clearly says both lifestyles lead to moksha, both sannyasa as well as karma yoga. But between these two, karma yoga is advisable or is better. It is not whether, because for sannyasa, you require to follow the lifestyle of sannyasa. Requires some preparation. So without preparation, the best lifestyle to lead, to follow moksha, to gain moksha is karma yoga. And when he meant seeing akarma in karma, he meant that was a state that you gain through knowledge. So both that knowledge you can gain by living a lifestyle of a sannyasi as well as living a life of karma yogi. In Arjuna's mind, he was thinking that half a mile and 5 miles. So he was thinking living a life of sannyasa is the fastest route. But actually, that takes a lot of preparation. So for him and for all of us, the best lifestyle is karma yoga, fulfilling all our different roles. whether it's the role of a daughter, sister, mother, wife.
Yeah, that's what yesterday I was kind of when we reading the first think about like this, if everyone wants to pursue this, to attain moksha and pursue this knowledge and want to become a sannyasi, what will happen the whole world? Like nothing will happen, right? I mean, the sense everybody renounce actions and be really in a big mess.
Yeah. The
So
universe runs on Yeah, please go ahead, Mala. No, you finish it.
that's the thing, like, I mean, you still have to perform your action with that karma yogic attitude. That way, you're not accruing that papa punya stuff, and then you're also uh, benefiting other people as well, like in terms of what need to be done for your family as a mother or a child, wife or whatever, or your professional would in benefiting other people as well, and for your in the meantime, we are getting that antakarna shuddhi by having this attitude of karma yoga. So that was what that human nature is, like what is better, like we always trying to wage in like we want to take the easier route as well as which is better, what do I gain more, like in that sense. In a way, like I felt it like that, how we normally think and then go on about it. But when you have better understanding of what he's really talking about, and then you have a better decision to make to attain the purushartha that you want to attain. That the fourth chapter, of course, I missed a lot of things in yeah, so I couldn't quote any of it. But the last two verses, those three things were told, right? Yoga sannyasta karma, jnana sanchinna samshaya, and atma one. So those three things were really helpful, for us to understand what it really meant about this sannyasa karma.
See, that was what Buddha had asked people to take to a begging bowl, and everybody take to sannyas was what he had suggested. When Buddha came, he said, desire is the cause of misery. So renounce all desires. And then, so that was a time when it was as though everyone was asked to take sannyasa. The society will not function like that. The universe is created with a lot of interdependence. And all those, if you remember the Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagashah, based on the duties that they do, based on the karma they do.
Yeah, especially
So,
the situation where this is happening, right? I mean, in the war, in what do you call it, in the uh, that Kurukshetra, that
battlefield, yeah, Mahabharata.
yeah. So
So,
his duty is to perform this war, right? I mean, since fight the opposite, whoever, even though it was despite his relatives or the family and all that stuff. So that's why I think the Bhagavan Krishna had mentioned it, and to Arjuna as well. He's saying the last verse from the last chapter was he's saying you get up yoga matista, say you get up and do the work. So why? So Arjuna has this sense of why do I not do the sannyasi, but at the same time, he always pays attention to what Bhagavan Krishna is saying also. So he didn't want to leave. Why he is also saying Karma Yoga is better. I mean, it is also, he's emphasizing on it. So that is why he was a little bit confused about it. And then he is putting that question again and again in coming chapters as well. But for us, I think we are reading it again and again, so we have little bit better understanding, I hope.
Yeah, if you see, the clarity is dawning, right? This is what Gurudev talks of, and he says those three things are required when you're doing anything:
Yeah.
purity in the heart,
Yeah.
clarity in the mind, and sincerity in action. So,
Action.
this
Yeah.
clarity as to what I'm supposed to do, what am I doing,
Mm,
that that clarity Arjuna seemingly did not have. That's why he kept asking the same question again and again.
yeah.
In the sense, what is it? I want your, I mean, you're praising knowledge, you're praising sannyasa, but Krishna was actually praising jnana karma sannyasa. It is
Mm,
not just sannyasa by renouncing action
exactly.
through jnana. And that jnanena karma sannyasa is the end point that you can get by either living a lifestyle of a sannyasi or that of a karma yogi. So
Yeah.
both will lead to the same point. So he says, so get up and fight.
Yeah. In fact, the you remember we used to do little quizzes like this in the past. That what came to my mind. We have to add that quiz again. What is karma yoga? What is jnana karma sannyasa? What is vidvat sannyasa? And what is vividhasa sannyasa? Like, if you understand those words, not because the sannyasa is the ending word there, it doesn't mean all sannyasa is renounce action and you just get there. Right. uh, that's how it feels like, because we only know what sannyasi means, but we don't know all this really complicated terms. And once you understand that clearly, and you really feel what Bhagavan Krishna is telling us to do, and hopefully we can incorporate that in our life. So that's what, even when we are doing Manana, even one person answers each question like that, we can we'll get uh, more out of it. And then the Shreyas, the Shreyas and prayers, we talk about it all the time. And then now I understand more about the Shreyas. Anything you want me to repeat? Sarlaji, and I think everybody else who came a little later, Savita. This is verse 2. Dr. Brahmana, can you say this word? Can I, if I did it correctly, Ubav Nishrayashakara? Both lead to liberation.
Nishreya Sakarau.
Oh, Sakara.
How Nishreya Sakarau. That is, yeah. So it is actually Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreya Sakaravubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. So
Okay.
Ubhau Nishreya Sakarau.
Sakara. Okay, I wasn't sure how to split that word. Ubav. Okay, Nikshayeshakarau. Ubav.
Nishreya Sakarau. Yeah.
Okay. Ubav. Okay.
Because there are three numbers in Sanskrit: single, plural, dual, and plural. Whereas in English we have only singular and plural.
No,
Here,
Eka
yeah,
Bhagavachanam, right? Yeah.
Bahu, Eka, Dvi, and Bahu. Both three are there. So
Right.
this Ubhau and Nishreya Sakarau. That means two. We're talking about the two lifestyles here.
Okay, 1 second. Uh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Nishayashakara. Okay.
Nishreya Sakarau, not Sha. Nishreya Sakarau.
Sa. Okay, got it. Tayostu. Okay, got it. Thanks. So, shall we move on to third sloka? And this is okay. I'll go on to third verse now. Nyeyagacha nitya sanyasi yo nadvasti na kankshati nidvandvo hi mahabaho sukam bandhat pramuchyate. Yaha, the one who nadvasti, no, nadvasti, does not hate. Oh, dvesha, right? Nadvasti, does not hate. Na kankshati, does not long for anything. Saha, that person. Nitya sannyasi, always a renunciate. Nitya sannyasi is always a renunciate. Nyeyaha should be known as Mahabaho, a almighty armed Arjuna. He, because Nirdvandvaha, free from opposites, likes and dislikes, Bandhat, from bondage, Sukham, effortlessly, Pramuchyate, is released. Yaha na dvesti, Yaha na dveshti, na kankshati, Saha nitya sannyasi, Nyeyaha, Mahabaho, hi nirdvandaha, Bandhat, Sukham, Pramuchyate. The person who neither hates nor longs for anything. So the person who neither hates nor longs for anything should be known as always a renunciate. O Arjuna, because the one who is free from the opposites, likes and dislikes is effortlessly released from bondage. So, O Arjuna, because one who is free from opposites, from the opposite like likes and dislikes, is effortlessly released from bondage. We saw that is in answer to Arjuna's question whether sannyasa leads to moksha or karma yoga. Sorry, let me read this line again. We saw that in answer to Arjuna's question whether sannyasa leads to moksha or karma yoga leads to moksha. Krishna said both lead to moksha. If you have the knowledge, you already are a sannyasi. You are already are a sannyasi. If you are not a jnani, there is a choice in that there are two lifestyles for pursuing the knowledge. But having said this, Krishna hints at the difficulties inherent in merely giving up all action, karma sannyasa, without the necessary preparation by saying that karma yoga is preferable. So karma sannyasa is without karma sannyasa is the giving up all action is karma sannyasa without the necessary preparation by saying that karma yoga is preferable. To say that karma yoga is better than karma sannyasa is strictly from the standpoint of one's qualifications, since both are means for moksha alone. The karma yogi and karma sannyasi are both mumukshus. They both desire liberation, freedom. The only difference is that the karma yogi has duties to perform and the sannyasi does not. And if you have no duties to perform, you should be able to live with yourself and pursue knowledge to the exclusion of all else, which takes a certain preparedness. This is why Krishna says that Karma Yoga is better than simply giving up action. I'll read these paragraphs again. We saw that in answer to Arjuna's question whether sannyasa leads to moksha or karma yoga leads to moksha, Krishna said that both lead to moksha. If you have the knowledge, you already are a sannyasi. If you are not a jnani, there is a choice in that there are two lifestyles for pursuing the knowledge. But having said this, Krishna hints at the difficulties inherent in merely giving up all action, karma sannyasa, without the necessary preparation by saying that karma yoga is preferable. To say that karma yoga is better than karma sannyasa is strictly from the standpoint of one's qualifications, since both are means for moksha alone. The karma yogi and the karma sannyasi are both mumukshus. They both desire liberation, freedom. The only difference is that the karma yogi has duties to perform and the sannyasi does not. And if you have no duties to perform, you should be able to live with yourself and pursue knowledge to the exclusion of all else, which takes a certain preparedness. This is why Krishna says that Karma Yoga is better than simply giving up action. Lord Krishna's definition of a sannyasi. Krishna wants Arjuna to understand what sannyasa means. You do not become a sannyasi simply by giving up action, even though by your appearance people may look upon you as one. You are not a sannyasi if the inner preparedness or maturity that characterizes a sannyasi is not there. The external symbols like wearing the orange cloth may be of some psychological help to the person who takes the lifestyle of sannyasa in order to pursue knowledge, combined with the discipline of the lifestyle itself. External symbols can help the person bring about the inner changes necessary to prepare the mind for the knowledge. So I'll read this line again. Combined with the discipline of the lifestyle itself, external symbols can help the person bring about the inner changes necessary to prepare the mind for the knowledge. These external factors are an advantage if the person is ready for this lifestyle. But if the person is not ready, such a lifestyle can become a decided disadvantage. Thus, without jnana, or at least a certain preparedness, sannyasa can be a real problem. You need not have complete knowledge, but some insight and a cheerful disposition are definitely required. If much is not there, if this much is not there, sannyasa is definitely a problem. The person is neither in the world where he or she can work things out, nor is he or she in the world of sannyasis. The person is somewhere in between, a sannyasi without a field in which to polish oneself. Under such circumstances, sannyasa becomes an onerous and responsibility, one that the person is not really able to fulfill. This is why Krishna says that Karma Yoga is better than simply giving up action. By merely changing your lifestyle, you do not become a sannyasi. Whereas a person who neither hates nor longs for things is to be understood as a sannyasi. So, here's the definition he's giving about sannyasa to what sannyasi means. So I'll read. Yes, sannyasi is a long paragraph. Okay. I'll read maybe a couple of paragraphs. The sannyasi, an adjective nitya is also added to the sannyasi. Nitya sannyasi does not mean eternal sannyasi. Rather, the Nitya sannyasi is one who is a sannyasi always, as opposed to the person who is sometimes a sannyasi and sometimes not. This sometimes sannyasi is called a kada chitka sannyasi. Oh my God. We have more sannyasis now. Nitya sannyasi and kada chitka sannyasi. With reference to certain things, everyone is a Nitya sannyasi. And with reference to everything for a certain period of time, everyone is a Kada Chitka sannyasi. For example, with reference to balloons, spinning tops, and Barbie dolls, you are a Nitya sannyasi. You are a Nitya sannyasi. In fact, with reference to a lot of things you loved once, without which you could not live because they were so important to you and which you have completely grown out of, you are a Nitya sannyasi. You did not give up these things, you simply grew out of them. So that's nice. If you had given them up, you would still be attached to them. But if you have grown out of them, you no longer think about them, let alone talk about your having given them up. So if you will read this again, if you had given them up, you would still be attached to them. But if you have grown out of them, you no longer think about them, let alone talk about your having given them up. If a man says that he has given up a title and a job, for example, it is because the person has only given them up. He has not grown out of them. A taste or value for what has been given up remains in the mind. Right. The taste or value for what has been given up remains in the mind. This is why the person talks about them. No one ever has. I gave away the garbage the day before yesterday. You simply leave the garbage out and forget about it. If, however, you still talk about the garbage, then you still have a value for it. Similarly, when anyone talks about what he has given up, it means that the person still has a value for it. Whereas you do not say, I have given up spinning tops, balloons, and dolls because you have grown out of them. If you have only given them up, you will be afraid to face them because they still remain tempting factors in your life. Being tempting objects, you are not free from desire for them, and therefore you cannot face what you have only given up. Naturally, then you have to keep away from them to protect yourself from them. If, however, you have grown out of them, you have neither hatred nor longing for them. Thus, with reference to a number of things, you are a Nitya Sannyasi, but with reference to other things, you are not a sannyasi at all. As long as there are things without which you cannot live, you cannot call yourself a sannyasi because there are things that still bind you and upon which you depend for your sense of well being. Even though you are a sannyasi with reference to a few things, if you are not a sannyasi with reference to all things, I cannot call you a Nitya Sannyasi. Nitya Sannyasi refers to a person who is a sannyasi in all situations. If this is not the case, even then you are a chitta Kadachitta sannyasi only, meaning that you are a sannyasi whenever you confront certain things, otherwise you are not. There are also times when you can be a sannyasi with reference to everything, moments when you are totally free, when you do not need anything. For instance, in your seat of meditation, you may feel that you are everything. At such times, you do not need anything other than yourself. You are full, purna, where there you can experience total contentment with yourself, that which is a sannyasa. You are definitely a sannyasi whenever you are happy. The world does not seem to have anything to demand your attention. This, which is exactly what is meant by sannyasa. There is no longing or hatred, no raga or dvesha. At that moment, you are a totally free person, a sannyasi. Everyone is a sannyasi in this way, occasionally with reference to everything, but being only for the moment. This is chitka sannyasa, not nitya sannyasa. And who is always a sannyasi? The one who neither hates nor longs for anything. The one can long to avoid things and also to have things. Okay, who is always a sannyasi? The one who neither hates nor longs for anything. That one can long to avoid things and also to have things. Both are longings. However, when one wants to avoid things, we do not call it longing. We call it hatred or dislike, dvesha. The sannyasi is not bound by ragas and dveshas, meaning that he or she is not under the spell of likes and dislikes. Only such a person can be a nitya sannyasi. To be free from raga and dvesha with reference to everything means that you are not affected by the presence or absence of a given thing. You are not overwhelmed or afraid in the presence of something, and you do not miss something when it is not there. So I went over 1 minute over time. And so we still need to read this again. Verse number 3. I reading no, sannyasa. Why sannyasa is not the right thing to pursue when you are not ready for it. Does anyone want to say anything before we close? I think we should repeat this verse number 3 from the beginning. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. Thank you for letting me read today. So, Dr. Brahmara, you'll be reading tomorrow? Sorry, I didn't read. Okay, thank you, Sarlaji. So I know everybody share would be nice. I didn't give much time for sharing in the end today, but we'll start tomorrow after repeating the verse number 3 again. Okay. Have a good day.